Just be funnier, mate. Just be fucking funnier. Channel your funny. Where's your funny?
It's hard to be funny.
Say something funny. You're a comedian. If you're not the funny one, what the hell else do you bring?
I'm the funny one. I'm the big fat loud one. I'm teller.
True
your
that,
pen.
mate. True fucking right.
Is that the right way around? My pen and your teller? Your teller and your pen?
In that BAFTA acceptance speech, I thought actually when I watched the video of that, the way I was stood behind you, just like with the hand gestures, not saying anything, that was very Penn and Teller, I thought.
Yeah, I thought. That's what I thought as well. We looked very much like Penn and Teller. We've fallen into our grooves.
Yeah. And they've got the same thing, haven't they? One of them is the talent and the other one's the voice.
Yes, exactly. So this is a very exciting moment for me. Oh. It's been quite a while since we've done a update video with updates to Prison Architect.
Actual content updates.
And this is a big one. This is a big one. Like Jupiter big. You know? Big.
Well, don't big it out too much, right?
It's big. It's big. But all good things must come to an end. There's also a tinge of sadness because this is the last. It's the last one.
Is it?
Well, it is. Yeah. I don't know what we're going to do next month.
Well, we're going to launch version 2.
Yes, we are going to launch version 2, but there aren't going to be many version 2 features next month because we're going to talk about the version 2 features this month and pop them on a little Steam branch so that the hardcore that watch these videos get to play it first and get to experience in glorious Technicolor all the bugs and fuck-ups.
Yeah. Before everyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we fail to fix them.
Once again, we give you groundbreaking access to our bugs.
We're not selling it very well, are we?
They like it. They like it. They're used to that. Not if you don't want bugs. Just don't opt into the version 2 update at this point. Wait until next month.
Yeah. So what we're saying is then I think that we're previewing the version 2 this month.
That's right.
At the end, in fact, now if you're watching the video now, you can preview the version 2 features. But we're just not quite ready yet to publish them publicly for every one of the 2 million Prison Architect players out there to experience.
2 million Prison Architect players.
Because unlike most of our updates, we've been working on this one for quite a little while, and so we're a little bit worried that we've broken everything again.
Yeah, we probably have. There's probably a few issues in there.
I don't think we've broken everything. Yeah. Because although you've been bigging it up at the start of this video, which I hate, the theme has been improvement and bug fixing and stability and refinement, rather than we haven't been going mad and adding in massive new systems and stuff. So given that, I think there's a good chance that we haven't broken the game, and in fact have made the game less broken.
Yeah.
Could we pussyfoot around anymore?
You keep telling yourself that. So I think we should just remind everybody of why we're releasing version 2.0.
We should.
Are you going to do that, or do you want me to do that?
No, I think you should do it. I did it last month.
Yes, you did. So we've been working on Prison Architect for about 5 years, and it's taken its toll. Chris's mental health has suffered severely from having to carry on working with this game. I'm bored, Mark, he says. He phones me up. I'm bored. I can't do it anymore. And that's fair enough, That's fair enough. We can't keep doing something forever. Now, it's important to let you all know that we will, of course, be continuing to support Prison Architect, fixing the bugs, making sure it's compatible with new hardware and all the rest of it. We're not going to leave it in the lurch. But no longer are we going to produce monthly update videos updating the sort of PC version of Prison Architect. As you know, there's console versions now. The 360 version drops next Tuesday. The PS4 version, Xbox One version is out there. I can exclusively reveal that the tablet version is coming. I can't say any more than that, but there absolutely 100% will be a tablet version in the future. And there will be sort of more excitedly for me actually, new video games from Introversion. And those of you that follow our monthly videos will know what we're talking about. Those of you that don't, go back and watch the Scanner Somber video from Introversion. You'll see what we're going to be working on next. We're going to carry on making these videos every month, and we're going to see how many people are interested in listening to me and Chris just bang on about what we've been doing at Introversion. But as for Prison Architect, it's going to be a fond, tearful farewell.
Next month.
But
Well
not
done, mate.
before this month's new updates.
Not before the version 2 features.
So
which I guess we should take a look
let's
at.
have a look at the version 2 features.
Yes, well, so one of the first things that I decided to do for version 2 was just tart up our user interface a little
Hang on,
bit.
can you say that?
What?
Tart up.
Yeah?
Can you?
Why can't I say
Well, it's
tart
sexist,
up?
isn't it?
Don't be ridiculous.
Sorry. I don't know nowadays, man. Sorry, you carry on.
I've decided to polish our user interface a little bit. I haven't checked the whole thing out.
Represented by Chris Delay. They are not necessarily the reviews of Introversion software.
For fuck's sake.
Okay, carry on.
Just go and sit in the corner and shut up. For fuck's sake.
I'm trying to be funny.
I know you are, mate. I know you are.
That's your fault. You told me to try and be funny.
You're always trying to be funny.
All right.
All right. So we haven't done a kind of D11 console job. We haven't done a sort of chuck the entire interface in the bin, but we have done quite a lot of improvements. So the toolbar, for example, I'll start down here. You see it has a slightly different look to it now.
Ah, yes.
Right? See how things are looking a little bit different?
Yeah.
The general aim is to try and make it look a bit cleaner and easier to find things. If we look at the rooms menu, you might notice there's a lot less rooms in this list. I've improved the filtering so that at this stage in the game, these are the rooms that you're able to build.
Right.
Now, all of the rooms are still there. There's the full list.
Yeah.
Okay. But you don't need to see all of these at this stage in the game, right? Because you can't build them yet. They're not available.
Yeah.
So I just filtered it down to that. And that same policy continues in the objects menu and in the staff menu. See, this is the staff list. These are the only people you can hire at the moment.
Yeah, it's good.
You can hire a warden. You can hire guards and chefs and stuff. But that's it. The rest of the staff are... let's see, where are they? There you go. So that's what you used to see for the full list. And the same thing for utilities. So again, I've just been continuing this general idea of chopping it down so that it's filtered down to just what's available. It doesn't make a difference in big, massive prisons where everything's already unlocked.
Yeah.
But it does make a difference at the very, very start of the game, which is where quite a lot of players, new players to the game, I think, are massively intimidated, by the sheer volume of options that are available to them. So continuing with the idea of improving the GUI, we've got a new feature whereby, let's say I tell my workmen to build a building like this. Maybe I'll put a pathway like this, right?
Yeah.
And a door, and let's say I miss and go, I clicked the door in the wrong place.
Crap.
Right.
Door there.
So I could right click and cancel, or I could click on this new undo button.
Nice.
Right.
Boom.
And maybe actually, I go, well, you know what? Actually, the whole pathway's in the wrong place. I'll just remove the whole pathway.
Nice.
And I'm going to move it to here instead. Right. And then go for a door here. Right. Then you go, well, actually, you know what? I'm not sure about the whole thing. I'm just going to go click, 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 click. I've just undone the whole thing.
Wow.
Right. So undo is, as with any undo feature in any system, it's a first in, first out.
Yeah.
No, last in, first out queue.
Yeah.
You remember your computer science?
LIFO. I do remember my computer science.
It's a LIFO queue, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So you can always, so if you build a load of shit like this and a load of shit like this.
Can you undo them once they've been finished?
No. Once they've been finished,
okay.
they come out the undo queue because they've been finished.
Right.
And you see those workmen, when I did undo on those workmen, they'd already built some of the foundations.
Yeah.
So they just leave it there. But
so
it undoes in groups as well. It does undo in batches, right? So that's considered one batch.
Yeah, I see.
It's really handy, and it's surprising how much you start using it actually once it's there.
Yeah, no, I can believe
it. It's surprising how, especially in the early stages when you're, you know how it is when you build something and it's one too big,
yeah,
or
absolutely,
it's one too small, or something like that. This was originally made for the iPad version actually, because on the iPad, it was easier to misclick.
Yeah.
And you don't have a right click on the iPad, so you didn't have that easy option of immediately right clicking to cancel something. So we made an undo feature, but I thought, well, since the iPad version has been Mark Morrised into next year or whenever it's coming, who knows?
You can't tell. Look, you announced the timescale.
I just announced a timescale. Oh shit! Well, this year or next year or the year after. All right, since it all got delayed, it got Morrised.
I can't believe you find that joke funny.
I think that's hilarious. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's undo.
Yep, good.
Let's have a look at. Let's load someone else's prison, shall we?
Yeah.
Sick of looking at my prisons. Here we go. So I just picked a prison from. This is the top prison currently in the most popular prisons of this week.
Wow.
That's a nice looking prison, isn't it?
It is a nice looking prison.
I have to go back and find out whose it is. You probably might not have noticed, but this is something that people are going to love, right? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Zoom to mouse. No! Zoom to mouse. No! How long has it taken us, mate?
These are amazing.
5 years. People, I think from Alpha 1, someone lodged a bug in Mantis saying, you really should do zoom to mouse.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? That was 3.5 years ago.
I'm going to call it the Linux effect. You know, it's something that everybody wants, but it's just really boring for the developers to implement. Yeah, so it just takes years and years.
Yeah. It takes some getting used to, actually. I'm really used to it just zooming.
Yeah.
Always just used to zoom to the middle of the screen. But now it's just so much better. It's so much better. You can't even imagine how much better that is. Like that undo feature and that zoom to mouse is pretty much like the greatest feature I've ever added to the game.
Now you sound, you know what you sound like now? You sound like the end of Steve Jobs. You know when he was up on stage at the start, and he was pulling out his...
We've changed the font from Helvetica to Arial.
That's right.
It's so insanely great.
The serifs on this font are the most precisely formed serifs ever. Woo! Yeah! Yeah! Go Apple!
Woo!
Yeah! Serifs on fonts!
Stop Price to the room. We love you, Steve. We love you, Steve. All right, we've added some help as well. Again, in keeping with the general idea of trying to make the early stage of the game a little bit less horrifically intimidating. So if you go to the deployment screens, for example, these screens have been generally tidied up and improved. I mean, pretty much every screen in the game has been generally tidied up and improved.
Yeah.
But you'll see there's now this little help widget.
Ah, nice.
In the corner of the toolbar. So whenever you've got something selected, so guard patrol just used to give you nothing. It used to give you just a blank screen and it didn't tell you anything. So if you have no idea what you're doing, you can highlight this little widget here and it gives you help about what the mouse buttons do and general tips for use.
Did you write all this or did you nick it from the wiki or something?
No, we wrote it. Okay. It's all good. And most of the screens like most of the screens that need help have had it added. So things like the food distribution screen and stuff had help. You can see how it's context sensitive to the view you're looking at.
Yeah, it's nice.
Food distribution. All these views have been filtered out. So food distribution now only shows you objects that are relevant to food.
Yeah.
So it shows you all the chefs that are currently working in the kitchen and all the ingredients and cookers and things. And the general path that foods is taking. And if you switch it to laundry view, you only see anything related to laundry.
See, I've got a question, right? You know, we spoke a lot about this in the early days of PA, about the complexity of it and the difficulty ramp and how new players kind of feel their way around a game, you know. And you said, whenever I said anything, you just said Dwarf Fortress, however many million players, you know. That was your argument effectively for not needing to do any changes to sort of ease the early game, right? And it was I think it's quite a solid argument, right? If somebody you know, you look at Dwarf Fortress.
God, man, come on, what the fuck do you want?
Oh, okay,
fuck you and your pen pusher. Sorry, carry on.
So what I'm asking is, how did you decide?
Well, I think I do believe that argument, and that's why we haven't created like a whole new tutorial or something like that would be the traditional way to ease people in.
Yeah.
I do still believe in dropping people in an empty map and saying, you know, you figure it out, and part of figuring it out is part of the fun of the game.
Yeah.
But I think that we were so devoid of help in some of our views. Even Dwarf Fortress had better help than we did.
Right.
In places. Also, I don't think Dwarf Fortress has 2 million players. I think it'd be interesting to find that out.
Right.
Dwarf Fortress, I mean, it might have had 2 million players through life, but there's no doubt in my mind that 2 million people have never built a successful Dwarf Fortress.
Right.
Because the interface is so difficult and so complex and so obtuse.
Yeah.
I think that there's a fine line to be found, and I think that this is the way to do it, because this help is not intrusive. It's not always there in your view for players that are really advanced and don't want anything to do with this help information.
Yeah.
It's not there, but if you're a new player and you have no idea what to do in this view, there is just a little bit of help that you can read that will give you a clue about what to do, you know. But I wouldn't want to go overboard with it and start putting crazy amounts of help everywhere.
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, for me, I sort of really felt that there was a series of decisions made on the console build that actually made Prison Architect feel quite different on that platform.
There's a lot more help on the console version.
Well, help, and also the fact, like, I always describe PA whenever someone says, "Oh, what game are you working on?" or whatever. Sorry, that was a bit mean. But when they, it's because I've had to ask them bloody questions so many times. But when they learn that I'm like in video games, "Oh, what game are you working on?" and I tell them, you start with an empty plot of land, and there's a bus of prisoners heading your way. That's my way of describing it. So I immediately start describing the sort of stress and anxiety and tension that the game puts you under to build a holding cell quickly for your prisoners who will run off and escape. And the kind of learn by failure approach that we took of saying, "Oh shit, my prisoners just ran away. Of course they ran away. Right, they're prisoners." Whereas I
still believe in that approach. That is very much a dwarf fortressism, which is the idea that the player will not only learn through failing, but failing is fun.
Yes, exactly.
So all your prisoners running away, although it's a failure, is actually really funny to watch. Or a massive riot that destroys your prison, and for a while the game switches into a kind of real-time strategy game, right? And you're controlling your armed guards or your riot guards, and then eventually soldiers arrive and retake the place by force. That's failure, but it isn't like, "Oh God, I'm never playing this game again." Failure. It's like, "I've just had one of the best gaming experiences of my life." Failure. And then but then you've also learned how not to do that next time. We've always been very clear that we didn't, on the PC version, we didn't want to do like, "You haven't yet built a fence, so we're not going to let you have any prisoners yet."
Yeah, exactly.
We're not going to do evasive, avoid failure for the player type actions. I don't think that's ever been on the cards for the PC version.
No.
In the console world, I think it has a different expectation. That's my impression. I mean, I think the Double 11 guys know the console world a lot better than we do.
Oh yeah. And I'm not sort of disparaging that aspect of it. It was just something that I noticed that kind of happened that we never really discussed. We never sat down and said, "I want the game to feel," or "We think the game should feel less tense, less stressful."
Well, if we'd found a lot of players bouncing off the game because of its difficulty, we probably would have gone a different way, right? I mean, I remember that discussion with Darwinia in 2005. We felt that we'd released a demo that was extremely difficult to get into. And that a lot of players played the demo and had no idea what the hell it was, and didn't ever get past that, and then quit. And that was it. They never listened about Darwinia ever again. And we took a lot of action after that to try and correct that. We never had that with Prison Architect. We had people saying it was hard, but we had a huge following very quickly.
Yeah, but I wonder if that's because there's been a huge change in gamers over the past 11 years. That now you can release games that are niche and still sell quite a few of them. Whereas back in 2005, we released a game that was niche, Darwinia, and didn't sell enough.
Yeah, I know what you mean. If you're making a game that is fulfilling a niche with the kind of like the what was previously an abandoned genre of the Bullfrog management game. And only had things like, it had Dwarf Fortress, which is ridiculously complex, but is an ultra hardcore niche. That's the niche that Prison Architect went to sit into. And you can see other games now coming into that niche. I think. Like RimWorld and things like that have come in and found that actually there's a whole bunch of players that love playing really intricate, really complex system type building games. Like Factorio is the ultimate example, Factorio, also on Steam, is very, very hardcore factory construction management game. It's totally brilliant and really, really complex.
Programmer games, you call them sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, games for programmers, games for engineers. I'm not sure Prison Architect is that, but it's got some of the elements of that.
Well, I think
with your favorite view of all, the wires view.
And I think
program your prison to do stuff.
Well, I think with PA, we did that very difficult thing, sort of accidentally, where you hit on a genre that appeals, or a game that appeals to lots of different people from lots of different positions.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I think it probably has got that programmer approach. It certainly has for the kind of modding aspects of it. But actually, the themes and the way it plays out are simple enough for a mass market to come and enjoy themselves within it.
The themes are enticing enough. I think it's a very enticing theme.
It is an enticing theme.
And then also, people have already an understanding in their heads of what a prison should be doing, roughly. even though they might not know how to do it in the game, it's not an abstract world. It's a known real world thing that we have a facsimile of, in our game. Yeah. Shall I carry on?
I think we should carry on. We're not done, are we?
No. Don't end it all now, mate. Don't end it.
Carry on, or shall I just jam my hands?
Shall I end it now? What else do we do? Yeah. So this is a console feature. If you have if you look at this prison, where's your workshop? Have you got any idea where the workshop is? No, you don't.
No, I don't.
You can highlight the workshop like this.
See, that's nice. Yeah, nice.
That's a console feature. That was a 11 thing. Or laundry. So where's my laundries? Well, there's my laundries. I get this a lot when I play the game. I find particularly if I'm loading someone else's prison.
Yeah.
If it says they've got one armory but I can't find it, well, I can just highlight the armory in the rooms menu.
Nice.
And it just gives me a free little highlight of it, and then I can zoom to mouse.
Yeah.
Oh, zoom to mouse. That's my favourite feature.
You've totally had your coffee this morning.
Yeah, exactly. Right, let's talk about context menus, shall we?
Yes.
So everything now has a context menu. So if I click on something like a phone booth, here's my context menu.
Nice, yeah.
And from my context menu, I can order for it to be dismantled, and I get this sort of flashing green indication that it's in progress. Same thing's true of entities. I can click on a guard, and I can click on follow, and the context menu remains there whilst I'm following them and deciding whether I want to sack them or not. Those are dev cheat codes, delete and properties. You can't normally delete people.
Well, here's a question for you, right? Shall we release the dev mode?
Oh, that is interesting, isn't it? Yeah, that is interesting.
People have asked for it, People have asked
cheat
for
menus
it.
and stuff. Yeah, you'd be able to do stuff like, so dev properties, for example, if I click on that, you get this developer menu, which is all of the internal data of that guard. Right? So it's very technical. There's no manual for this shit. This is very complex stuff. This is the deep inner settings for them. I mean, you can mess with all their internal properties. You can mess with world internal properties up here. You can trigger riots and things like that. And there's loads of stuff that we have. We have different rendering modes and stuff where you can see like the navigation system that's running in the game. You can turn on escape maps and water views. I don't know. I mean, I'm going completely off script here. What do you think? Do you think it's an interesting feature?
I think it absolutely is. I think it is. So? Yeah, and I think it needs to be, buried in a cheat code. Definitely. Yeah, we could do it like the 3D mode, couldn't we? We could have it as a sort of semi-hidden secret. Can we do it so that you have to type in introversion is great? Or Mark is great? What about that?
Well, I'm definitely not making it Mark is great. I'm afraid to say.
Yeah, no, I think we should. I think we should. version 2, it's the end of Prison Architect. It's the end of the features. Let's give this stuff out.
Maybe it's an option when you create a new prison. Like there's an option to say unlimited funds.
Yeah.
Yes or no. We could have an option for cheat codes enabled or not, couldn't we? And that'd be a possible way to do it. So because what I don't like is if you're struggling with your prison and there's an easy out.
Yeah.
Sometimes that ruins the game because you stop feeling the tension. Because you know that the cheat codes are always just one click away, even though you might not use them.
Yeah,
you could use the cheat menus. So maybe we have to make the player decide at the start whether they want to have cheat codes accessible.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But certainly for modders would be able to do things like laying out lakes and modifying the landscape itself to create more interesting landscapes. That's something
I think we should do it.
All right. Well, I'll see. We'll see if that comes up in our next month's video.
Yes.
I should mention that the thing about user interfaces, as we know, is that we've had our user interface for a long time, right? And we've got 2 million players, and it will come as no surprise to me if a sizable fraction of our user base prefer the old user interface.
Right.
So because I'm a nice person, you can go to the options menu and go to game, and then from here you can disable the version 2 GUI and the zoom to mouse.
Right.
I've done that preemptively to avert. There you go. So we're back to the old menus.
Yeah.
I've done that preemptively to avert the complaints that we will inevitably receive for, I prefer the old interface and I prefer the old zoom to mouse. How dare you get rid of them? All right. I think that the developers always think it's better, but we'll find out.
Yeah, we will.
We'll know within a few hours. I was showing context menus, wasn't I? So if you click on prisoners, for example, you can follow prisoners. So what used to happen is when you clicked on a prisoner, you used to just get his rap sheet up, and that's still possible, but it's a click away now. So if I click on, because the rap sheet isn't always what you want, you often want to search the prisoner. Right? Oh, it's Calvin Heller again.
Oh, Calvin Heller.
What do you want? Oh, the weight benches again, you goddamn bastard.
Why does he hate the benches?
What has he got against weights benches? Fuck's sake. And check this out, right? So if you're following a prisoner, it follows along quite nicely.
Yeah.
Right? And then if you click on rap sheet, it still follows along nicely. Puts him in the left of the screen.
There
Look
we
at
go.
that.
I like it.
Look at his rap sheet on the right of the screen while he's on the left of the screen. Isn't that a thing of beauty?
I mean, that is such an intuitive and
so if you click on
use of screen real estate.
It is. I think it is. Yeah, I think you're right. This context menu, I don't think we're quite finished with it yet. I think there's still more wins to be had there, because in the rap sheet there are buttons for searching the prisoner and punishing the prisoner and things that I feel will be better placed in the quick context menu.
Right.
I've still got that to do. I haven't quite got around to doing that yet. All right. Oh wow, I've still got lots of little things to look at. Contraband. All right, so if you go to intelligence and you look at your 7 days view, here's your 7 days view of contraband. Right, this is all the contraband that's been found in the last 7 days. You can now change it so that it shows you where it was stolen from. Right. So it's the same data, it's the same items
yes.
as before, but this is where it came from.
Right.
Very handy view. So you can see all the medicine and poisons and things that were stolen from the infirmary.
Yeah.
This is all the stuff that was smuggled in through visitation.
Nice.
And you can see at the edges here, these are the things that were thrown over the edge of the walls.
Right.
Right. So the person who made this prison might not have realised. Because when it's in this view, it's all the same data, and some of these items will have been thrown in.
Yeah.
But there's nothing in this view that indicates that. And thrown in is one of those things that is like one of those, we never tell the player about it.
Yeah.
So now here it becomes obvious. Players are going to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How? Right, so this is a bottle of booze that was thrown over the wall and landed here.
and didn't break.
It didn't break.
Bottle.
It was a plastic bottle, and then it was, and then it went on a whole grand tour all around the prison and was eventually discovered and found in the person's cell.
Right.
Pretty cool, right? Just giving the player more information.
Yeah,
about
I like it.
what's going on in their prison. If you let's have a look at our needs view. So here's the needs view, one of the most important views of the game. Now has very handy little tooltips about what each of the needs are.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And what you can do. So recreation it tells you the meaning of the graph firstly with the colours. That 133 prisoners are bothered about recreation, and right now 4 prisoners are furious that they are, and that's represented by the red in the graph.
That's because of the mayor taking away their weights benches.
Yeah, that's right. The mayor's taken away.
Don't be furious with us. Be furious with the mayor.
Blame the mayor. Blame those pen pushers in City Hall.
City Hall.
God damn it. And there's a little bit of text about what you might be able to do about it as well.
Yeah, okay, nice.
And you can filter it, right? So this is every prisoner in your prison.
Yeah.
But you can filter it by category. So I can say, what about my max sec prisoners, right?
Yeah, okay.
So this is a different view, because your max sec prisoners are often partitioned into a different area of the prison.
Yeah.
And often have quite a different set of needs to everybody else.
You've got death row going on. What are the needs of the death rowers?
I don't think there are any death... Oh, there are. Yeah, there's one death rower in this prison.
Okay, so that's him.
And that's his needs.
So he's relatively well looked after, isn't he?
Yeah.
He wants a new jumper or something.
Yeah, so again, continuing the theme, we've just given the player more information.
Yeah.
So they can make better decisions. If a prisoner dies... I'm going to try and load an example where a prisoner often dies very soon after loading. Yes, there we go. Let's see. Where is he? He's over here somewhere. Here we go. This guy. This prisoner died. So it says snitch, ex-prison guard fearless. Dead. Killed for being a snitch.
Ooh.
Alright, so that's nasty. So... what we now have is cause of death notifications for everyone that's died.
Okay, yeah, good.
So if you have an enormous fight and a lot of people are killed, it can often be quite difficult to figure out what happened. And now everyone that died will have how they died and why they died, if that information is available. So sometimes it'll say, killed by an armed guard for refusing to surrender.
Okay.
That's one of my favourite tooltips.
Yeah.
Or killed... So in his particular case, he was a snitch, so a bunch of prisoners ganged up on him and killed him for being a snitch.
Snitches get stitches.
Exactly.
It's true in the real world, it's true in Prison Architect.
Sometimes prisoners will be killed. So, you can... Important things like whether a prisoner was killed by guards or whether he was murdered by other inmates, is brought to light by that information. So you might get a theme here. There's loads of little things. You know? I'm not showing like a new whole system, but there's just loads of little things that just every one of them is improving the game a little bit.
Yeah.
A much requested feature is in the regime. So you've got free time, right? So free time means prisoners can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
All right, and then you can have work. Right, and work means the prisoners go to work in whatever industries you have. But those prisoners that don't have a job were just under free time rules in that scenario.
Yeah.
It was equivalent to this, work free time. It was a hybrid whereby those who have jobs can work and those who don't have jobs have free time.
Yeah.
A lot of people requested, well, I want work lockup.
Yeah, okay.
And then we have that. So now you can have work lockup.
Right.
Which means that if you have a job, you go to the job. And if you don't have a job, you stay in your cell as if you're under lockup.
I like it. So they're incentivizing their prisoners to get jobs.
Exactly. Why should everyone else be free to go and do whatever they want when some of your prisoners are working? Some people have just built higher security prisons where they want more lockup, but they don't necessarily want to not have the options of a work program because of all the benefits that it brings. So that's pretty cool. Work regime, lockup, cause of death. TVs and radios. Yes, we made TVs work properly. So let's go to a nice prison. I need to find the common room. So I'm going to use our search.
Use our new.
There we go.
Highlight, zoom to mouse. He's got 4 common rooms.
And then I'm going to zoom to mouse. Whoa! Right. And then I'm going to use the context menu to dump all these. Actually, I'll dismantle all of these TVs, dismantle. Right, so this is how TVs were previously set up. So TVs were weird, right? We never really got around to making them work properly. Prisoners just kind of had to walk up to the television and stand on top of it.
Okay.
In order to make use of the television. And it's one of those things that we just put in and we thought, one day, all right, day we'll come back and we'll make TVs work properly. All right, we'll make them broadcast to a room, all right, and that day is today.
Oh.
So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create I'll create a TV. Let's build a TV here.
Why have you dismantled them and then putting new ones in?
I'm just getting them out of the way because he's built all those TVs because the old way that it used to work.
Oh, I see.
But now it broadcasts. Oh, it's me, Kelvin Heller again.
No TVs are allowed in the common room.
Oh, you
go
screw yourself
again.
Honestly. All right, so now if you just create a load of chairs in front of the TV like this.
Yeah.
Right? So you have a television and a bunch of chairs. So once that TV gets built, we'll see its effect. I'll also make a large TV so you can see the difference. So large TVs, I think, actually haven't been enabled in the game before.
Because that's brilliant.
They never worked, right? They never worked properly, so we never enabled them.
Right.
So let's put some more chairs in here, like this. And we have another item. Radios have been in the game previously, but also didn't do anything.
Right.
And I think we have... Don't we have the arcade cabinet as well? Yeah, arcade cabinet. We've been clearing house a little bit, right? These are things that have kind of been in the code for ages.
Right, right.
But we just never enabled them because we never had a proper system to make them work. So we just got a lot more stuff now for taking care of your prisoners' boredom needs. Right, let's make sure we've got some free time coming up. There we go. So this TV, for example, you see how there's a green box around the TV and also a green box in front of it.
Yep.
So anybody that's sat in those chairs will get the benefit of that TV.
Okay.
All right. So they don't even have to be watching TV exclusively. You can put these in the canteen.
Yeah.
You can put it. So it has like a directional area of effect. So if you put one in a canteen facing a load of places where people are going to sit and eat, they'll get the recreational benefit of having a TV there.
Okay. Yeah.
Permanently on. And a large TV works in much the same way as you'd expect. So a large TV has a much larger broadcast box.
Yeah. Okay.
See that? So everybody in that area gets the benefit of that large TV. It's a recreation benefit. Arcade cabinets are 1- and 2-man games.
Okay.
So just those things. I know you can't hear it, but they've got lovely little retro video game sound effects playing on top of them as well. Just more stuff that prisoners can mess around with and have fun with. All right.
Good.
That's the
That's
list
very
of
good.
my stuff. And I'm not done yet, mate. There's still more. Yeah, that's all in your game features. And no. I know. All right. So yes, I haven't finished work on this yet, but I'm going to show it to you anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know you love this screen, don't you? Right.
Oh yeah.
The nice bureaucracy screen. That's what it's called, isn't it?
I
Well,
love it.
I've been working on it, and I haven't finished it yet. Mayor Kelvin Heller, just fuck you! Fucking hell!
Have you turned up Calvin Heller?
It's because he keeps telling me to remove all the weights benches, and I'm just ignoring him because I'm doing a fucking video, Mayor Kelvin Heller.
He doesn't care about your videos.
Anyway, right. So here is my work in progress.
That's
new
much better.
bureaucracy screen. Yeah, so it's not working at the edge of the screen yet.
I like
just
it.
right. Yes, if I let's see what it looks like.
You've gone back to Introversion blue. That's what you've done.
When in doubt,
You've just gone. I'll just
doubt,
make it
go
blue,
blue.
like everything else.
Absolutely, it's a lot neater. Apart from the screen edges, which are really pissing me off.
Yeah.
It's so again, I've kind of carried on that theme of just taking away a lot of the stuff that's irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, it looks a lot better.
The things that are available to you are lit up, and the things that aren't available are highlightable if you want to read about what's coming.
Yeah.
But for the most part, your view of what's available is much clearer. And if you go a bit later in the process, some of the things are unlocked and some more things are now available.
Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah, I think it looks a lot better. I mean to look at this. I need a bigger prism to demonstrate that. Gangs. Yeah, that's what it looks like when you've got most things unlocked.
Yeah, it's nice.
And it's a lot nicer, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
That screen was very much due for improvement.
Yeah.
If you compare before.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, and it's another of those things that we just said we'll
get to it.
We need to get a base layer in for everything, and then we'll come back. I want to do this one as well. And this screen I think is on my list of things to deal with.
It's not too bad though. This looks a lot more like the new style.
Yeah, it's not as bad, but it still needs work. So yeah, the last couple of things I want to talk about then is modding support. Modding support continues to be one of those secret wins in the background, whereby we get big wins from modding support, but it doesn't provide anything that I can really show you in the video.
Yeah.
But I will show you this. This is a mod made by who made it? What does it say? Merg. Right, so Merg. Well done, Merg. This is a basketball mod, right?
Yeah.
So you build a basketball court in your prison, and the referee arrives. And it's like a reform program that creates a basketball game, and they actually play basketball. You can see there is a little basketball there.
Oh yeah.
Owned by that prisoner, and they toss it to each other, and they score goals. Goals? No,
baskets.
Not score goals. Baskets.
I think.
Points.
Brilliant.
We're showing our lack of knowledge of basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit.
Can we have someone make a cricket mod, please?
You see how there's we want a cricket mod, quite frankly. And you see there's a functioning scoreboard up here.
Yeah,
this was built using the wiring system that I know you hate.
Yeah,
right? But that
Finally,
wiring system
got some use out of the wiring system.
That wiring system provides the necessary foundations to connect those items up.
Brilliant,
so you can see there's other screenshots here of prisons that have got a whole league running. Right?
Yeah,
There's actually a fucking league of basketball games, right, and basketball players. And I've looked behind the scenes, and there's enormous scripts behind all this, making it work, making the basketball bounce around and be functional. These are the wins. This isn't stuff that's for free. Yeah. This has happened because we've invested tons of time in our modding system.
And so has the modding community.
And the modding community has taken that and gone with it. So in that vein, we've carried on. We've done more. we can do things like you can now create world scripts, which are Lua scripts that will run for your run within your mod and will receive an update every frame, and you can do whatever you want within that world script. It gets around one of the most common hacks that modders have to make, which is that they have to put some sort of thing in the world to do the scripting. Like there has to be an object that has a script running on it, whereas now you can just create one. And we've done what I like to call infinite mod loading. Right. So previously, if you went to your mods and turned on probably 6 or 7 mods that all had graphics, new graphics and sprite sheets and things, you would run out of space. You all right there, mate? Do you want me to wait a minute while you do something more important?
It's my dog. Do you want me to kick him out? Is he coming through?
Yeah, he's coming through, mate.
All right.
Just a little bit.
Let me get rid of him. Hang on. Buster, get out. Get out. Go on. Get out. Good boy. Tiny, you get out as well. Get out.
Right. Are you back now?
Yeah, sorry, mate. You know what it's like. You don't know what it's like. Basically, they just lay there quietly, being like quiet, good dogs, and then they see ghosts and get up and just run around the place.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, it's a real pain when that happens. That's why I don't have dogs, mate. I was explaining infinite mod loading, wasn't it?
Yes.
I was explaining that we because of the way it worked, right? Because of the way that we have a sprite sheet, right? We have let me find it. Here's our sprite sheet for the game.
Yeah.
Right? And these are all the game sprites. This is another of the mod tools that would become unlocked if we chose to unlock it. And these are all the sprites in the game. And over here, we've got all the faces in the game as well. So this is all the graphics the game uses. And it leaves us with this little corner. Right? You see this corner here?
Yeah.
That's where all the mod graphics go.
Right.
And when you run out of space, it stops working.
Okay.
Which is obviously not ideal. So we've changed it so you can now load essentially unlimited number of mods, so long as your graphics card supports big enough textures, which any modern graphics card does. We go as high as in the previous versions. We go as high as 4096 pixels squared. Right. Now there's no limit, but modern graphics cards can go way higher than that.
Way higher.
So I could show you what that looks like. So here is an example of us trying to break the new modding system.
Yeah.
Right. So up here in the top left, here's what I just showed you. Right. So this is the edge. This is the edge here of where the previous modding system would have had space.
Right.
Right. So once you'd loaded these mods, that was it.
Yeah.
You were done and you were out of space. So this is one big mod here and another big mod here and another one here, 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 one here. All right, all composited. So now what happens is your graphics card just goes, well, fine, and then just zooms out and creates an even bigger texture. Right. And then starts compositing new mods up here. So here's even more mods loaded. Every one of these little boxes is another mod and another set of mod graphics.
So you say infinite. This is a word that, as a computer scientist, leaves me.
It's not really infinite, but it's
much bigger.
I don't know how many mods are loaded here, but a fuck ton of mods.
Yeah. Okay.
There's like 30 mods loaded here.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So if you're at the point where you're this is how much space they've used. So if you're at the point when you're loading 400 mods,
you got to have a serious word with yourself.
You run out of graphics card space. And to be honest, my graphics card will go double again on this one.
Oh,
so
bully for you! Look at you.
Yeah, but most modern cards will.
Yeah.
So it's just not going to be an issue in the foreseeable future. Challenge, right? We can issue a challenge, can't we?
Let's do it. Well, of course we can. Yes.
Who can break the modding system by loading too many mods? Right? Probably nobody. I don't think it can be done.
Probably no one.
So that's our ongoing mod support. There's loads of other stuff that's been gone into the modding system as well, loads of bug fixes, but it's all so technical that I wouldn't dare try and discuss it in a video. But people that make mods can read the changes list and find out the glories that we've provided for them.
Wonderful.
The very last thing is our events system.
Yes.
I've been screaming about our event system all through this video about Mayor Kelvin Heller telling us to remove the sodding weights benches.
Yeah.
We've added some new events in to the game, and I really don't want to spoil any surprises.
Okay.
Because some of them are a bit mysterious. And I can't wait for people to find out about them. But suffice to say, there are new things to worry about, and
right.
new sources of danger. and new things that can go wrong. And, we've tried our best. We're not talking like future winnings, right? We're not talking like random crazy shit that just breaks everything. It is all predictable and it is all defensible, but things can happen in your prison that are tricky to deal with.
Okay.
Assuming you have events turned on, which obviously is optional, because events are optional.
Yeah.
But if you do, there's new content in the event system just waiting to happen. All right.
Nice.
That's everything.
That's everything. So, because this is a sort of soft launch of version 2, it's not going to update you automatically. You can download version 2 from our website if that's the way you do things, or you can opt in on Steam. Do you want to show people how to opt in on Steam?
Yes. So what you have to do is you go to your game library and you find Prison Architect, and you right-click on it and say Properties. All right, and you get this little Game Properties menu up, and you go to Betas, and then under the Betas list, you select the beta that you wish to opt into, which will be called... Was that clear?
That was very clear. That's very clear.
Yeah.
So those are the steps.
We haven't created the beta branch yet, so we could call it version 2 preview.
Yeah, that's what.
And
we'll
that would be obvious.
Yeah.
But if you thought we were gonna, and I think that in general, if we do updates to the game again in the future, we're gonna put them on a branch first.
Yeah.
That's gonna be our general method of operation, so as not to break the game. So we could come up with a reusable name.
Well, we could, but we don't need to. We just call it version 2. Why you got to complicate things?
All right, we'll call it. Well, I like complicating things. That's what I do.
We'll call it Nakatomi.
We'll call it the version 2 preview. So you right click on the game, properties, betas, and then you select version 2 preview from the drop down list.
And if you find any bugs, please report them to us via Mantis. If you don't know how to do that, have a look at support.introversion.co.uk and it will tell you. You can find out there and log some bugs so that we can get bug fixing for the sort of big launch of version 2 at the end of August.
Launch. We should mention, shouldn't we, that our plan for August is a pretty heavy bug bash.
Yes.
Now. Yeah. We've previewed the vast majority of the features that are going to be in version 2. We've got some more things to look at that we were discussed in this video, like maybe doing the cheats and debug options. But for the most part, that is our version 2, and we're now going to do ultra hardcore bug bash, continuing the theme of just solidifying the game and getting up to a really polished standard. So Mantis is the key, I think. If you find problems with the game, or if there are things in the game that have bugged you since the very beginning, now's the time to report them in Mantis if they're not already reported.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
That's it from us, and we will speak to you all in a month's time.